Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
Hello and welcome to the WrestleTalk regular news. Because it's Christmas and there probably isn't that much news, so it can't really be a stacked one. I am Chopper Peakmanel and I hope everyone had some nice time off, a jolly Christmas and some time with family and friends. But enough of the pleasantries, let's get into some news, shall we? And as I mentioned before, there almost certainly can't have been anything major that happened. And wait, what's that? Andrade just won his first singles title on the main roster. All right, cool. Considering WWE bloody love to make MSG feel like their spiritual home despite only doing house shows there for years now, the easiest way for them to do so is to have a title change at these special house shows. Predominantly the US title, it seems, considering AJ Styles also won the title at an MSG house show too. This time, Rey Mysterio has dropped the US title, but to who? Apart from the fact I already said it earlier, but to who? Well, considering he main evented Raw defending the title against Seth Rollins, which ended when AOP got involved in the match, with the show ending with Rollins delivering a stomp to Rey, with probably Rollins, right? No, it was Andrade in his first main roster title win, and it's on a house show. Good job, WWE. The match itself was probably fantastic, as we've seen Andrade and Rey tear the house down, but this time they probably just tore the house show down. Where this positions Andrade and Rey going forwards remains to be seen. However, this does link into a previous report from Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer, stating that WWE would be looking into making the top of main roster cards feel more three-dimensional by having their top stars feud with multiple people at the same time. So, for example, Rey Mysterio is now feuding with both Andrade and Seth Rollins at the same time, while Rollins retains his heat with Mysterio, but is also focusing on Kevin Owens and now Samoa Joe from the events on Raw too. If this is another step in fleshing out characters and their feuds with multiple people at once, I'm all for it. Andrade will likely continue his feud with Mysterio and also Humberto Carrillo going forward as well. Speaking of people getting pushes, kinda, a new report from the Wrestling Observer newsletter has stated that 3 Raw stars in particular will be receiving big pushes moving forwards into 2020, with Vince McMahon heavily behind one of them, and I don't think it's who you would expect. Did I just BuzzFeed that? Number 3 will shock you. Both Aleister Black and Drew McIntyre were mentioned in the report of being on the verge of big pushes, with Buddy Murphy being elevated in his feud with Black as well. McIntyre cut a promo on Raw stating that 2020 was his, while Black has been on a rampage in his feud with Murphy, in which he beat the Aussie at TLC. There's no doubt some Paul Heyman influence here, as McIntyre and Black, as well as Murphy, are all projects of his. But there's also a Vince McMahon project taking place too, with the Wrestling Observer report also name-dropping Rowan as someone in line for a big push, with Vince heavily pushing for him backstage. This might be somewhat surprising considering that earlier this year, Rowan was a top heel on SmackDown, coming out of the Who Attacked Roman Reigns story, going solo, splitting from Daniel Bryan and terrorizing both of them while also temporarily reuniting with Luke Harper. But then when Rowan was drafted to Raw in October, his entire character was changed, and he now carries around an animal cage with unknown contents. Actually, thinking about it, it's absolutely not shocking at all that Vince is behind the guy going from a top dominant heel to carrying a pet around for a mystery that will either never pay off or be revealed to an incredibly mild and anticlimactic response. Incredibly mild and anticlimactic response. Title of your sex tape. Speaking of mild responses, the rumors that have been flying around regarding WrestleMania 36 had stated that Brock Lesnar would face either Cain Velasquez or Tyson Fury for the WWE Championship. You know, for the mainstream appeal of Brock facing a boxer who struggled to bounce against the ropes at Crown Jewel, or a former UFC fighter who Lesnar beat in like 2 minutes at the same show. However, according to another report from the Wrestling Observer, neither of those are currently the plan for Lesnar. However, Lesnar himself is penciled in for the show, which is good considering he's the WWE Champion. What a shocker that one of the top titles in the company is being defended at their biggest show. With the common fan theory being that Roman Reigns will be winning the Royal Rumble in January and going on to face The Fiend at WrestleMania 36, this opens things up on the Raw side if this does come true. Could we be seeing one of the aforementioned push talents go for a Lesnar match at WrestleMania? Lord knows everyone would love to see a Lesnar versus McIntyre match or a Lesnar versus Aleister Black match. I'm not so sure about a Lesnar versus Rowan match though, but hey, I've been wrong before. Something that we missed over the Christmas period is this week's episode of NXT, which aired on Christmas Day. Keith Lee tagged with Lio Rush to take on Damian Priest and Tony Nese, which just sounds like an incredibly fun match, while Roderick Strong defended his North American title against the debuting Austin Theory. Theory came up short, however he wasn't the only debut that night, with Shotzi Blackheart also joining the already stacked NXT Women's Division to face Bianca Belair in a losing effort. It seems that last week's episode of NXT was sort of a takeover level show, with both men's and women's NXT championships being defended, and now the roster is somewhat being reset with a couple of new debuts and division shakeups. This should hopefully spruce up the already amazing NXT roster, leading into an exciting 2020. Speaking of rosters being shaken up, there's a free agent lurking around the wrestling industry that may be on their way to WWE very, very shortly. And interestingly, they wouldn't be making a stop in NXT, as they would be heading straight to the main roster. Killer Kross recently left Impact Wrestling, and according to Wrestling News Co., WWE are extremely interested in signing him, with the report stating that he should get a better offer than most have been offered, and they are willing to have him start on Raw or SmackDown and fast-track him to the upper card. There's no doubt Killer Kross is a bit of a killer act, pun intended, so it's not surprising WWE are interested in the former Impact star. Considering Kross had many issues with Impact regarding his creative direction, it must be reassuring for him that WWE would jump him straight to the main roster and straight to the top of the card upon his debut as well. How this would affect other plans is uncertain right now, with the top heels on the Raw side seemingly being Lesnar, Rollins, and McIntyre, while SmackDown has The Fiend, King Corbin, and whichever lackeys Corbin decides to partner with that particular week. There could be a slot for Killer Kross on SmackDown, which might also prevent every single bloody SmackDown starting and bloody ending with King Bloody Corbin. Bloody. Ollie Davis interviewed John Cena about his new movie Playing with Fire for Cineworld, and they played a game where John had to identify all the fire hazards from Ollie's prompts. Trust me, it gets stupid. Also press the video below that to find out more about Vince McMahon burying talent in one very special way moving forwards. A special thank you to our pledge hammers on Patreon, some of whom we see scrolling below me right now. I've been Chubba Pete Cornell, and that was wrestling.